about tasering the students of life. Giving perspective on a situation that has occurred during a speech when a student stood up and voiced himself, and where security guards came and sorted him out appropriately. That was the most fascinating situation about this experience, is that no one else did anything. Not one other human being that was there and heard the speech and the student, the young man standing up and voicing himself, did anything. They just sat there and watched the whole event take place. And this student actually just voiced himself, asked specific questions about, and basically standing up. No, there's apparently free speech in this world, but only a conditional free speech. And what fascinates me is that no other human being did anything. No other student actually stood up and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" to those security guards who tasered him. Why is that? Why are we allowing the governments and laws to shut up the voice of the people, to shut up the voice of life? Here's the student standing up, expressing himself. Here comes the guards. He may not say this, because if he says this, other human beings will hear and maybe possibly think for themselves and start standing up and voicing themselves as well. So then fear is generated, and the security guards come and detain him. Send out a warning, basically, to all the other students and all the other human beings. Dare you voice yourself, dare you stand up, dare you speak, you'll face the consequences. But what would have happened if all those human beings just stood up and said, "Stop, let him speak"? That would have changed the scenario entirely, not from a conflict perspective, not fighting, just standing up and saying, "Stop, let him speak." Everyone's supporting him. But no, they'll sit back and go like zombies. Why is that? Did it even cross their mind to possibly stand up and say stop? Or stand up and ask the same questions again? If everyone started standing up and maybe asking the same questions, different message would have been sent out. So human beings, it's just an example of the extensive programming that have occurred within humanity, that the human beings didn't even consider maybe possibly just standing up and voicing ourselves what we're experiencing of this world. Is anyone doing that? It's all about blame and fear and judgment and sitting back instead of expressing. And the basic principle and the reason why those students or those human beings didn't stand up is fear of death. This world, the governments, everyone control human beings through fear of death. And within that, you'll just sit back, shut up, keep your mouth shut, just allow everything to happen. It's just an example, human beings, that one student, that one human being presented the example of what's going on in the entire world. With everything. Starvation, poverty, abuse, rape, slavery. Everyone's just sitting back and allowing it to happen, seeing how everything is occurring in this world and doing nothing within themselves. What would those human beings have done if they actually just stood up? They would have done something within themselves. They would have stood up in that moment and said, "No, stop." What are they saying stopping to? They're saying stop to the acceptance of allowance of the continuation of shutting up human beings' expression and voice and standing. Instead of supporting the actual human beings that are taking the courage of standing up, what they're doing is going No, nothing to do with that. No, I'm not going to support that human being. No. I'll rather support the shutting up of his voice, of his standing, and of his expression. Human being is just an interesting observation, what that human being was actually showing through his expression. That all human beings sit down and do nothing because they think that they're not able to or not allowed to, and they fear doing so.